Okay, I got this from the Department of Justice. This is on my personal page back from 2024, but I think it goes back actually on my page Legal Reform a couple years before that. I got this from the Department of Justice, but didn't download it because the DOJ denied me access to the entirety of its contents. The link at the bottom will show you where I found this. It was really an informative read. I won't tell you why I was denied access, but the DOJ can. Basic obligations of public service. I keep mentioning it to these people. Yeah, you really got to get into this. I got this off the DOJ website. The foundation for ethical behavior. Remember, not doing this are ethical violations. You can file complaints for ethical violations. These are the basic obligations of public service. Public servants. People keep talking about judges and politicians want to bring back some old laws, use some antiquated laws that are contrary to the public interest. But these laws, and the basic obligations of public service are in the public interest. Okay? The law requires every law to be written to be in the public interest. That's how we maintain the public trust. Our politicians, all our public servants are supposed to take a knee, kiss the ring, kiss the ass of we the people. You are their lords and masters. Stop letting them bite your hand already, okay? That's all I'm trying to get you into, okay? The foundation of ethical behavior, Executive Order 12674, Thomas Jefferson enunciated the basic principles of public service. When a man assumes a public trust, remember I was telling you, politicians, the legal system are part of public trust. You read the public trust doctrine. Public trust doctrine is basically nothing other than the public trust fund. Okay? When a man assumes a public trust, he should consider himself as public property. This sentiment has been expressed by numerous others over the time, becoming a familiar principle. The public service is a public trust. To ensure public confidence in the integrity of the federal government, Executive Order 12674, as amended, forms a framework for ethical behavior required by the expected of all federal employees. As a condition of public service, you are expected to adhere to these fundamental principles of ethical behavior. Public service is a public trust, requiring you to place loyalty to the Constitution, the laws, and ethical principles above private gain. Above private gain. Once again, above private gain. You shall hold these financial interests that conflict with the conscientious performance of duty. You shall not hold these financial interests. You shall not hold these financial interests that conflict with the conscientious performance of duty. You shall not engage in financial transaction using non-public government information or allow improper use of such information to further any private interest. Stock trading, folks, stock trading. You shall not accept pursuant to such reasonable expectations as provided by regulations, solicit or accept any gift or other item of monetary value from any person or entity seeking official action from, doing business with, or conducting activities regulated by your agency, or whose interests may be substantially affected by the performance of non-performance of your duties. That goes for the U.S. Supreme Court too, y'all. You shall make no unauthorized commitments or promises of any kind purporting to bind the government. You shall put forth an honest effort in performance of your duties. You shall not engage in outside employment or activities, including seeking or negotiating for employment that conflict with your official government duties and responsibilities. You shall disclose waste, fraud, abuse, and corruption to appropriate authorities. Sounds like Doge before Doge. You shall satisfy in good faith your obligations as citizens, including all just financial obligations, especially those as federal, state, and local taxes that are imposed by law. You shall adhere to all laws and regulations that provide equal opportunity for all Americans, regardless of race, religion, sex, including pregnancy, gender identity. Okay, gender identity, people, or sexual orientation. Hey, I'm straight. I don't care what all those other people are doing that I don't associate with, that I don't see or look at. It's just no. When I look at any of you, all I see are other citizens. All right. All I see is we the people. And if you want to dance around in a pink tutu and combat boots, that's okay by me. Just don't step on my damn toes. All right. So let's read that. You shall adhere to all laws and regulations that provide equal opportunities for all Americans, regardless of race, religion, color, sex, including pregnancy, gender identity, and sexual orientation, parental status, national origin, age, disability, family medical history or genetic information, political affiliation and military service. Political affiliation and military service. Let me say that again. Political affiliation and military service. You shall not use your public office for private gain. You shall act impartially and not give preferential treatment to any private organization or individual. Elon, you shall protect and conserve federal property and shall not use it other than authorized activity. I keep mentioning the public trust doctrine, those parks and recreations, that's yours. Nobody can sell that. You shall endeavor to avoid any actions creating the appearance that you are violating the law. Let me reiterate that. You shall endeavor to avoid any actions creating the appearance that you are violating the law. The standards of ethical conduct for employees of the executive branch, 5 CFR Part 2635, DOI, Department of Interior, supplements ethics regulations or Executive Order 12674. A collection of statutes, executive orders, and regulation underscore the notion that public service is a public trust. The criminal bribery and conflict of interest statutes 18 U.S.C. 201 and 202-209 respectively are the core of federal ethics program. These statutes are implemented in large part by the standard of ethical conduct for employees of executive branch standards 5 CFR Part 2635 and the supplemental standards of ethical conduct for employees of the Department of Interior. DOI supplemental standards 5 CFR Part 350. Violation of ethic laws are subject to criminal or civil action by the Department of Justice. Violation of the standards of the DOI supplemental standards may result in disciplinary or adverse action. Accordingly, employees are strongly encouraged to consult with ethics counselors for embarking on an activity they have any question about or ethical propriety of their action. Okay, so let me just click on it and I'll show you that I think I did this before. The permission denied at the DOJ website. See, I copied this off the DOJ website. There's another link up here, watch. See? For crime, identify. Let's see. Conspiracy against rights under the color of law. BOP lieutenant arrested and pleaded guilty for privation of rights under the color of law and conspiracy to deprive rights under the color of law. Remember, I was showing you those were two different things. This here confirms it. Previously assigned to the United States Penitentiary, Big Sandy, on one count of deprivation of rights under the color of law, a count of conspiracy privation of rights under the color of law, and conspiracy to deprive rights under the color of law, January 4th. Okay, so basically, this guy's running a prison. He violated a prisoner's constitutional rights, denied them probably health care or maybe food or, in the prison. You just look up the prisoner's constitutional rights. And I mean, they don't have the same rights as we do out here, but they do have a minimum to assure some type of quality of life, health, Okay, but I'm just showing you that's the DOJ website. Where was it? Oh, it went all the way up there. This is one of my favorite ones. Sixth Amendment states that as accused person has a right to a quick and speedy trial. You won't get that if you demand it. It's not even guaranteed. It says in the Constitution it's guaranteed, but it's not. If you don't demand a quick and speedy, you're not going to get it. And there's a time limit from the point of arrest. They got 60, 90 days, depending on where you're at, to get your case at trial. If not, it's null and void. It's dismissed. That's grounds to have your case dismissed. And that's also grounds to have, the state's attorney, disbarred, the public defender, whatever lawyer was working for you is barred, the judge removed from the bench because they denied you your right to a quick and speedy trial. And they'll say they didn't deny you, just nobody brought it up. Your lawyer didn't bring it up to you, the state's attorney, the judge, and since you didn't know, you didn't bring it up to them. I've seen people sitting, I was on the news, guy sitting in Cook County Jail waiting 2 years to go to trial. His case should have been cut loose, but they do that. I call it the legal war of attrition. What they do is they violate somebody's right to a quick and speedy trial, make them sit there until they get impatient, and most of the time it's for minor crimes. So they try to get the person to sign off on that crime, which is usually a felony, but still warrants some type of time and even probation. Okay, but they want that person to leave with a crime. And you actually have no real choice. Unless you start using some of these laws that I've been pointing out, all right? Okay. Forgot where I was at. I've been telling people this. Not knowing the rules of professional conduct and code of judicial conduct exist. Not caring the rules and codes exist. I was telling this guy I was talking to earlier. Oh yeah, here it is. Okay. But you're seeing this is my page, Legal Reform, on Facebook. I started that because all the disinformation that was on Facebook. A lot of ambulance chasers on there. I don't see them anymore. But they were telling the people one thing, and it wasn't in accordance with the letter of the law, so I had to straighten that out and straighten out a lot of that stuff. But either way, people, let's get with this, okay? Remember the basic obligations of public service, you know. There's a lot of things they can't do, but they'll do anyways just because you don't know the law. All right, remember, public servants are public property. You know, their finances, open book. You know, their personal life, open book. Taxes, open book. Okay, no matter, it's people use the basic obligations on your public service, and if you were hunting, it'd be open season. Happy hunting. I'm not talking about what, like, real guns and stuff. I'm talking about with the law. Use the law. All right, talk to you later.